Abstract Transmissions.
And thank you for joining us on Abstract Transmissions. Today we've got Stephen Thompson from the Summon. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
We're really excited to have you, and it's been really great to get kind of into the in-depth conversation. We were just briefly talking about, everything from the Shining to, whiskey. So let's discuss
Music.
that. So how did you come into tasting?
Taste testing.
Tasting whiskey.
I was on a family trip and they needed some people to do a taste testing, and I was like, I'll do it. And then they're like, okay.
That's awesome. That's great.
And then so I tried a few different types of whiskeys. I tried it was Jameson, Jack Daniels, and I want to say Wild Turkey maybe.
Yeah.
Which is like a single malt, double malt, triple malt. Jameson being the triple malt.
Yep.
So I tried each one. You can tell the difference in like the smoothness compared to like the amount of malts. So like single malt, Jameson very strong, but as you add more malts, it's just that much smoother.
Right.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier to basically take down without any type of chaser or unless you're
no
thinning
pickle
it out.
juice needed.
Right. So because I've always drank Scotch straight and then chased it with beer. That's always been my thing, right?
Yeah.
But I've never noticed really the biggest differences between the types of Scotch. I've always just Dewars or whatever the fuck I thought would go good with brand A beer or whatever.
Yeah, for pairing
So
purposes, absolutely.
Yeah. And what I found was I just look like a major alcoholic because I have two drinks in my hand. I'm just kidding. But so a little bit about the Summoned. How long you guys been together?
Oh, geez, we've been together since 2007.
Fucking right.
Yeah, long time. Veterans of the local scene, if you want to call it that now.
Yeah, for sure.
Just old farts at
Absolutely,
this point.
right. Well, and I had a rough idea of when you got. I didn't realize it was as far back. That's awesome. I mainly heard of you guys through our drummer in Unrest in Transit, Jeremy, now in Where They Hide, and he had told us about you guys, and I obviously just it's a rabbit hole from there. You guys have some pretty awesome music. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm very much into the tech metal or like the math kind of influence metal. It's very it's the type of thing that catches my. I'm ADHD, so it's my kind of music, man.
Yeah, surprisingly, it's not a lot of people's music, but we just wanted to make something that was intense and just adding all sorts of different like time signature styles, whatever. Because there's like we all listen to like different types of stuff. I mean, I'm more of a new metal guy, honestly. Like I'm big on Deftones and
Me too.
Korn and Slipknot and whatever. Sean's big into prog music, Dream Theater, stuff like that. Our bassist now, he's into Dream Theater and stuff like that too, but I think like softer stuff as well. Our guitarist Jared, he's more into like the guitar virtuosos. He's really big on that stuff, and Vishnu, like our newest guy, he's into all sorts of stuff too. I'm actually not 100% sure, but he just like actually no, I am sure. Now that I think about it, because he's like big into Dillinger and stuff like that. Well, Dillinger Escape Plan. I'll just clarify that.
Yeah.
But I love Dillinger Escape Plan. It's
Right.
one of my favorites.
Is he he's out of one of the schools down in Mass, like Berkeley or something, right?
He's from Berkeley.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I mean, he had some pretty big shoes to fill, but did it exceptionally well. I mean, Sam's great. So, I mean, I was just really blown away how very well adapted everything went for such a very technical band. So, kudos.
Thank you. Yeah, I was really blown away when I first saw him, because I didn't see him like up until almost a couple of days before like we were going on tour.
Oh wow!
Because like Sam bowed out. We had another fill in, but he had to bow out. So we're just like, oh geez, we gotta get someone quick. And then we just like Sean found Vishnu. I think that's how it went down. And I was like, I've never seen this kid. And like he was like, I can learn it, and he learned all of our stuff in a month, like everything we needed for the tour.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that is really amazing. Because I was gonna say, when I saw videos of the material, I'm like, holy shit! I mean, that was quick and holy well adapted Batman. Yeah, because and then we were talking earlier in the car.
Yeah, actually, I was telling Mark the first time I heard the Summoned, it was actually when our buddy Alex, the original drummer for Unrest in Transit,
Yep.
I went over to hang out, and he's bumping it and like playing. And I'm like, okay, and we're having a conversation, and it actually interrupted the fucking conversation.
We do that.
I was just like, what the fuck is that, dude? And he's like, oh, that's a Summon, man. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, do you know Alex
like, oh,
Alex Yusko? He was in also Whiskey Drinking Cow Tippers and
with Aaron Pelly.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
it's like a 2-piece
Cadaveric Manifesto from
back
in the day.
Yeah.
So it's funny. We a lot of people from the similar scene, at least up in like the Dover area, you know.
Yeah, we made a lot of friends along, New England.
Yeah.
I like to think that, pretty
It's a
cool
cozy
guys.
little place, you know?
It's a cozy little place.
Cozy little New England.
We're big on, like, supporting, like, our friends and fans.
Absolutely.
And, so if anyone, like, needs a show, we can try to help them out as much as possible, and vice versa. It's all give and take.
See, I think that's huge. I mean, that's really what the local scene's, built on. And, I mean, I think a lot of people locally, at least in New Hampshire, it's tough because of the, rural territory and distances and all that stuff. But we've tried to, keep it going at least, and out of Dover and the Brickhouse is really the only thing in New Hampshire really that I can say in the Seacoast now, other than 3S Art Space, which isn't doing metal acts, which is tough.
Yeah,
and then you've got Jewel and Manchester or wherever it is. I don't know.
Oh, Jewel
and
the Bungalow.
Which is all fairly recent though, in the last couple of years, right? So it's like pre 2000. We'll say, be fair, 2015 even, anything before that, it was really more tough unless you're in Mass, as far as venues and stuff.
Yeah.
And just a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, there's a lot of venues that are starting to kind of, like, stray away from, heavy metal. And I get it. It's not the most appealing music to, like, the wide audience, stuff like that. We played one in Boston. I don't know if I want to, like, name names, but the venue that night stopped doing metal. They were just like, nope,
we're not doing it again.
Yeah, we're not doing it again. They have a club downstairs, and it's interfering with the music downstairs.
No.
So they're just like, nope, never again.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. It was
because
it
kills a whole community of really good music, and it can get rowdy sometimes too. Like, I get it. I mean, sometimes, but it's really. I mean, no, I'm not gonna name names, but a lot of times the hardcore and punk bands tend to be the more rowdy of the. A lot of times metalheads, it's not as rowdy. You know, I'm gonna say it mixes it up. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't say that because it really depends on the bands.
No one really moshes for us. They just kind of watch.
Right.
Like, oh, look at that.
Well, it's stuff nobody wants to look like an idiot when they mosh wrong.
Yeah.
Because you guys changed time signature and then fucking oh, fuck, I missed it.
Yep.
It was the wrong beat. It's the wrong time. I'm gonna get it down though. And then if you listen over and over, then of course it comes second nature. Whenever you're listening, like same thing with Meshuggah. I mean, you listen to them long enough, and then you get the changes right, and then you're bobbing your head right to when it changes. But you can tell
my favorite album. Man.
Yes.
You can tell the people in the crowd that know Meshuggah, and then you can tell the people in the crowd that are first time Meshuggah, because the people that are moving their head correctly versus the people that are just like trying to figure it out with like doing the bob and weave.
You're bobbing wrong.
Well, here's the thing though. The thing about Meshuggah is
they're wild.
It's all they are wild. Sure,
wild.
Like everything. The light, the sound, the light show.
Lights.
I've never heard a band sound exact to CD as much as them.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do, but it's
very much so.
It's right there.
I listen to it. I'm like, wow, this is just spot on.
Their rider is ridiculous. Like Fear Factory's rider is ridiculous, but Meshuggah I heard is even crazier.
Really, I want to get into that in a second.
Yeah.
But Meshuggah, they when they're hitting the symbol. What symbol? Crash. It's all 4/4.
Yep.
The crash is 4/4,
right.
so you can headbang to the
Yep.
crash if you
Right,
want it.
right.
But then it's like everything else. So you
All the
get thrown
polyrhythms
off.
fall
The
into
bass pedals and everything is just like.
Yep.
But then for a second, if you start paying attention to something else and then you try to get back into that, especially for somebody who's not, because this stuff is like somebody like you, especially somebody like you who's in a math metal kind of band,
Right.
you're gonna notice those things and be like, oh no, it's just you can find the polyrhythm within it. But there's gonna be other people that are like, I can't.
Yeah, it's a different type of headbang.
Yeah.
It's not like straight
But
down
you-
up down
you
up.
can,
It's
though.
like you could, but it's more of a like a wiggle to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I love that because it's something that it stands out in its own way that really gets stuck in your head too. Once it gets stuck in your head, and you're like, I can't fucking, because it's like if you get a 4/4 beat stuck in your head, you might be able to replicate it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you get something wild like that stuck in your head, you're like, oh, it's there, and I just can't.
And you have to listen.
can't
to it,
even
you're like,
articulate-
I can't figure it out.
You're right. I've got to listen to it so I can get that. You can scratch that itch. You know.
Yep.
Yep.
So about riders, I need to hear that.
Okay, so I don't know specifically their per se rider, but I did look at Fear Factory's rider, which was very interesting because we were trying to bring them into the Rochester Opera House and it was like close to doing it, but then they're like, well, we're worried about that. They've got like a 500-year-old moving, rotating floor or some shit because it's an old opera house. It rolls away and there's this whole thing that's still working and like one of the only operating ones still that hasn't been completely refurbished and redone that's still original in the United States. It's freaking super old. So they were very specific. But then they were talking about fucking ICP. I'm like, dude, they're going to be dumping fucking soda all over that 500-year-old
No.
fucking ICP. Like, you fucking guys. And then it fell through and they were like, well, let's try to see how this local thing's going. I'm like, it's going to go okay, but it's not going to go like that. It's Fear Factory versus, a bunch of local bands.
Yeah.
Anyway, we ended out, trying to make it work and I ended up getting to look at the Fear Factory rider and it was absolutely mind-boggling, some of the stuff that they were requiring on that. I mean, the sound rider was pretty intense. They were requiring it isn't. They were requiring both mic in the front and mic in the back, as well as a trigger for the bass drums.
We bring
individual.
that shit with us.
Yeah, right. Well, but they wanted like all of that stuff to be able to be direct. They were expecting you to be able to accommodate everything, and obviously direct-ins aren't incredibly difficult. There was a lot of things the Opera House could accommodate, but it was just when I was reading through, I'm like, holy shit, yeah. And then I was talking to my buddy, and he's like, "Yeah, you think that's crazy? You should see what Meshuggah looks like. It's like laser lights because they need to accommodate the room for all of that crazy shit, and like."
Yep.
And they're not even going to do it unless you can accommodate some of their pyrotechnics. Minimum of like 50% pyrotechnics or something. Crazy. Yeah.
Crazy.
Same thing, bands like Slipknot. You're never going to see them in a place like Palladium ever again because they're a stadium band. They just don't do that anymore.
They're too big.
They're just too big. And it's just like, but why? How can a band ever be too big to play a venue?
I think it's just a matter of like
That
production.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's also a kind of a mindset. Wouldn't you miss the intimacy and playing in a small room crowd, like say just the upstairs Palladium, for example? I mean, you love the upstairs, right?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite places. It's always been like a goal of mine and like to play, and I played it.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic. And but yeah, I mean, I love playing that stage. I think it's perfect like size for us.
Yep.
For instance, but there are plenty of other stages I look at it and I go, oh.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I feel like if I were to ever get to the point where it's like playing these huge stages all the time, wouldn't you just kind of long for that?
I would.
Going back to the Middle East or whatever it is.
Hey, Dillinger Escape Plan did it.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, they're used to playing the Palladium, stuff like that. And then they'd play Great Scots.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to go.
right, absolutely.
Great Scott. Where is that again?
Boston.
It is like it's small enough where we have played it, like not like we've played it and filled it.
Right.
I mean, if Dillinger can
What's
play
the
that,
capacity there, would you say?
150,
150. Okay,
180
so
maybe.
it's similar to the brick.
Yeah.
I can't remember where
That's
I
awesome.
seen one of the last times. I think it was 2016. I seen Dillinger, and
Yeah.
there was a Car Bomb open up for him.
God, that band.
Fucking ridiculous. It was the first time I heard them. I can't remember what the fuck it was. What was it? The Paradise?
It might have been the
I'm not sure.
Manchester
what? I think-
bomb shelter or something.
I think it might have been Paradise.
Yeah, I think it was them, Dillinger. I think I saw.
The Cult Leader.
Yes,
It was
Cult
Cult
Leader,
Leader. Yep.
and what was the band at the very beginning that I missed out on big time? I'll get it. I'll figure it out later.
I think
But-
I didn't get to see them because I think I showed up a little
Girl
late.
singer. It's like this, like a wicked Berkeley band. It's gonna elude me big time.
And then you're gonna be driving home later, and you're
And
like,
I'm just like, I should have said it on the podcast.
that happens to me all the
Yeah,
time.
me and Ryan, we actually seen Guy from the Red Chord.
Oh.
He was there.
He was there. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw him too.
he frequents a lot of those shows. He's a nice guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
that's
actually I got complimented. Well, we got complimented by Guy once.
Oh,
I was
really?
like,
Oh, yeah. As you
That's
should.
fucking awesome. Yeah, no, absolutely. Right. I can see where that'd be his cup of tea too. You know?
Yeah, I think he posted something on Instagram, and someone was like, "Have you ever heard of the Summon?" And he's like, "Yeah, they're great." I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's really cool, man. To
I was
have
like,
that, man,
credit where
that's
credit's
got to be
due,
like
man.
really fucking kick ass.
that was cool." Talking to Max Cavalera, that was
Holy
yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
That-
that's funny. I got to experience that myself.
Yeah,
Actually, we played
same,
with him
yeah.
at
Arena in
the arena.
Salem.
That's
Salem,
where it was.
New Hampshire?
was the arena. Yep, and that was yeah.
Yeah, we played with them in Connecticut. This place called the Palace. One of my favorite places to ever play, ever. Like, I still say it's my favorite venue, hands down.
Really,
They just treat their artists like, I don't know, royalty.
That's
you walk
awesome.
in there, they're like, "Here's the money," and upstairs are free drinks and food for you. I'm like, oh my god.
that is awesome.
But,
yeah.
yeah, we
Like,
played-
when does that ever happen, right?
Exactly. And we got paid $200 just to open for Soulfly.
Oh wow.
I was like, that's awesome. You
That's
know?
awesome.
That's
you get
a
to
good
open
game.
for me, and you get to get paid.
Yeah, we
Fucking
didn't even
right.
sell tickets. Like, we just like, here's money.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
But we were playing, and I look over, and I'm like, what the hell? Max Cavalera is sitting right at the side of the stage, just looking like in awe, and I'm like, this is not happening.
that is so cool.
I'm just like,
That
wow.
is so awesome.
We finished, we finished the set. He comes up to us. You guys were great. I'm like,
Oh my god.
whoa. It's like, can I get a T-shirt? I'm like, yes.
Yes,
No,
yes, you
you
absolutely
can't.
can.
Here you go, man.
He don't like. He
Please
dedicated.
have to.
He dedicated 2 songs to us that night.
That is awesome,
like,
dude. That is
That's
the
amazing.
shit. That's like one of the. That's something you just fucking. You just knock right off your fucking bucket
Yeah.
list.
Yeah,
right there.
yeah. Oh,
man.
yeah. It's on my.
That's-
I have this whole list of things I've done type deal.
That's
at
awesome.
my desk, and I just
That's great, man.
You know, played on Sirius XM by Max Cavalera. You know,
Yeah.
that was
That's fucking cool.
Hell yeah, man.
That's
That's great.
huge, dude.
he's a legend. He's amazing.
Definitely.
You know, it's great. I mean, as a musician, to have the things like that, you just as experiences get to do and be like, got to play this stage or like the Palladium downstairs is something that I always really really wanted to do. We saw Typo play there, and to get to play on that downstairs stage was just a shot in the dark. And we got, I think, just kind of lucky kind of circumstances.
Also Rocco's.
Ragos was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun for a very long time. Very
Yeah.
long time. And like it was the place to go. You know, like there was always like bands playing. You'd just be like, you know what, I'm gonna show up tonight. There's gonna be
Right.
someone playing.
Yep.
You know, it was like, that's like Bungalow now.
Yeah.
Bungalow is like, you know what, just show up. And there's some local band that's playing, and it's usually pretty good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good because it's so crucial. I mean, I think there's this tumultuousness that's going on that people need music. That's why I think that there's been such a surge. At least, I feel like New Hampshire has always kind of struggled with this up and down in the scene where you have like a surge and concentration of bands, and then it dies out, and then a surge,
does. It
and then it
happens
dies out.
like
But I
every,
think
like,
that
7
recently
years.
there's just been this like. I'm not gonna say angst, but this tumultuousness where people just need that artistic release, and I've just seen so many more bands in the last 5 years, just and even places in Portsmouth. Portsmouth, you know, with the Elvis Room disappearing forever ago, you know, there was that was like the spot where like all punk rock bands and any notable band ever played in Portsmouth. At least it was noted for being like a kind of a hub for like punk rock and stuff. And then metal bands, and you know, Scissor Fight played there a bunch of times, like all kinds of shit. And that went out, and then Portsmouth just got super hoity-toity and artsy and not music oriented anymore. And then it became like metal bands not in Portsmouth. Like, the fuck, man, because that sucks. It really did. And I mean, Dover kind of took the reins there, which is great because, you know, huzzah for Rax in the Burke House. I mean, if it wasn't for that, we really would have a harder time finding places on the seacoast to, you know, do that kind of stuff.
See, I don't get it. I don't understand why there's such a stigma when it comes to metal. I mean, look at celebrities now. Celebrities are wearing, like, you know, heavy metal shirts and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them, I know. Some of them may not know. But then there are, like, some that's like Rihanna. Her favorite band, like, metal band is Slipknot. I'm like, come on.
Yep. Right, exactly.
Like, what does that tell you? I mean, it's just not like...
It is gaining traction.
Yeah, I mean, Lady Gaga loves Metallica, obviously. You know? I mean, she wouldn't be doing that, like, Grammy stuff with them if she wasn't into it.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think that versatility among musicians is important too, for people to bridge over those genre gaps and stuff. But I think as, you know, time goes on, it will also metal. I mean, let's just look at it for what it is worldwide. Let's say it may not be everybody's cup of tea in the United States, but worldwide, it's pretty fucking huge, right? And that's something that it's kind of an anomaly in the United States, where it's like these bands will play rooms with less than 700 people, and then they'll go over in Europe and play stadiums packed full of people, and they're like, fuck the United States, dude. Why do I want to play in the US?
Typo for one.
I mean, this is another thing. You guys go take, you know, your stuff, spend whatever, and go overseas or whatever, and I mean, it's just, they treat a lot of times as long as you're, I mean, somewhat notable. I mean, even bands that weren't notable make it pretty far over there, because there's a lot of appreciation for artistic creation and even American bands just in general. But I think that creative, you know, Western creation. See, hey, that's the copters I was telling you about. It's the black. That's the deep state guys.
Oh yeah,
coming in on us FCC regulations.
No.
But I mean, I think that it's just as time goes on, metal's going to bridge a lot of those gaps that. You know, I think at least the last 15 years have been, you know.
Metal's a community.
Yeah.
You know, everyone, like, if you like metal, like, sure, there's all these crazy subgenres and stuff like that. But a lot of people are just like, oh, you like metal? I see you wearing a Slayer shirt. I think we could be friends.
Right.
You know, it's kind of one of those things. It's
even
just
for
like
the people that don't like that.
Yeah, it's like...
But they can still find that connection.
Yeah, a kinship. I think that's the word. Like, or just like, you just notice right away.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. You know, like, I see some dude walking down the street with like a, you know, a black metal t-shirt, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like I should say, yeah.
You look at him and he looks at you and you're just like, And you have that moment of like recognizing each other. You're like, yeah.
I get it. You do the whole, like, you know, fingers to the eye, point to, I get it.
We're on the same team. Man.
Yeah, we are.
But I think that sense of community is huge, because it kind of transcends a lot of things, which is huge. And even if you don't, like, there could be people, if you don't like Slayer, but you see somebody with a Slayer t-shirt, but you still like metal, you're still going to connect with that person. And then you're just going to have a really in-depth, like, no, man, this band, you know, is way better. And it's just that whole dynamic back and forth, like, you know, I saw Testament back in 93 or whatever. I don't fucking know.
And then you're like, I like Testament.
It's
just like, it doesn't matter. Like,
there's always going to be that connection. Yeah.
It's, I mean, huge. I don't feel like you see that with, like, pop music.
No.
Or like
absolutely don't, because they're not niche music listeners, though. They're not audiophiles in the same way.
Nope.
Because they're just like, oh, I listen to this on Spotify or whatever the fuck it is now that's popular. And back in the 90s, it was just singles listeners. They only listened to single that came out. They didn't listen to the entire album. Metalheads are so much more diehard. They buy the fucking album. Even in the age of fucking buying, you know, single songs on iTunes, you're still gonna buy the whole album. You're still gonna buy vinyl because that's what fucking metalheads do. It's just weird. It's a weird niche that we have that we appreciate things. I was talking to Scott from They Look Human about this, and it's just that he has each band that he's ever played with, or he's got their album, he's got something that he's just very specific, all fucking categorized and shit.
That's cool.
And it's like that's totally a metalhead thing to do. I can see fucking certain metalheads are just chaotic as shit.
Yep.
For me,
just
like
t-shirts.
I don't have a CD player anymore. I don't have a vinyl player. Well, I do have a vinyl player or a record player, I should say, and but I don't have like an amplifier or speaker. So I'm like, it's kind of just paperweight at the moment, which sucks. So I am
but
big on
everything's
Spotify.
digital music now.
It is. I mean,
is.
I'm big on Spotify because I can just listen to anything,
and it bridges so many
really is,
new bands.
Yep. Funny thing about Spotify, I think I read a report lately that the most popular music on it is metal.
I heard the same thing, and I think that's because of the appreciation worldwide, but also
the variety
more recently,
total variety.
Because like we were saying about pop fans, they're not as diehard. They're very swaying or whatever's popular at the time, and then that's just, it doesn't matter what genre it is. If it's popular, then they get stuck in their head and is what it is. But metal fans are, fucking bleed. Fucking cut band names into their fucking arms and shit. Fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Pantera fans, man.
Hey, we got a fan that's got our logo tattooed on his arm.
Exactly.
It's massive.
It's fucking kick ass.
It's really cool. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. See, I mean that's such a meaningful thing when that shit happens. Somebody really come up that connects to the music that you create. As an artist, I mean, I don't think there's anything better. There really is. It's just like. It's sometimes, especially if you're kind of a shy person, it becomes kind of like awkward because you're just like, thank you, but I don't know what else to say other than thank you. It's like I don't know how to react socially.
I was always kind of like a shy person.
Yeah.
And then when I started being in a band, it kind of broke out of that shell, So it's important for if someone's interested in music, get into it, because if you're like that introvert type style,
absolutely,
whatever. If you like.
I would completely agree.
Yeah, if you're in a band, it's just like it gets you out, and you're like, yes, I gotta get out to people and get my music out there, and shows like how important it is to interact with like humans and just all that stuff. It's I think it's important, like especially if someone's a musician, they just want to meet people,
right?
But they don't know how.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yep, and I mean, I think that you couldn't pick a better, genre of music to have more inclusive community.
Yeah.
Like the guys from Akaro, they're just like perfect
God,
example of awesome guys that are just super community driven. I mean, that's a lot of the bands out of Mass, though. I mean, in New England in general, we just have this really tight knit sense of community that I don't think you're gonna find the same anywhere else in the country, just because of that. And I mean, great bands like Killswitch, come out of New England because of that kind of sense of community, where a lot of the band's members have kind of,
I mean,
been in different bands. And
here's to put things a little in perspective in regards to community for like the metal scene and Massachusetts or New England. Sorry, New England. We played this show up in New Hampshire. I can't remember the city. Anyways, we played this like random venue with this band Conforza.
Yeah, they're a great band.
Great, like awesome friends of ours. But it was the first time we got to play with them. And we just hit it off.
That's awesome.
And this is literally going back almost a decade, like with these guys. We've been friends with them for almost at least like maybe almost a decade. I'm gonna say almost a decade. And we just met them at this random show, and we were just like, I like your stuff, you like our stuff, and like it's just kind of went from there. And then later on, the bassist Desmond, like we're at his wedding hanging out. I mean, it's like it goes that deep.
It really does. Yeah,
like just to be like you meet friends that like awesome.
Yep.
Enough to be like, you know what, you're important enough to be at my wedding.
Right.
Yeah,
that's huge.
It's like metal is such
a big deal.
It is a big deal. It's such an amazing.
It's a family kind of thing. Yeah,
really is.
It's like it's such a like an amazing community, the metal scene and stuff. So like,
and so I wonder what it is about the music specifically that makes people so tight knit. It's an interesting thing because I don't really think there's. I mean, old punk rock and I would say would have a very tight knit community similar to that, but other than like metal and punk. And like the hardcore, and a lot of it rooted from a lot of similar places, especially hardcore out of Mass and New England, with Hatebreed and all that, the different mixes of genres and subgenres. Yeah. But I think that really very similar type of community, but you're not going to find that in pop music or country.
No.
No, not the same, maybe different, but just not the same.
Oh no, it's all money based, and I'm sorry, no offense to country music, but it's all marketable, and that's it. And it's built around beer drinking, truck driving, marketability, and that's great, but that's what it is.
Do you think if we could show the community behind heavy metal, like out to the masses, and say, this is the kind of community you get just by listening to this alone, do you think metal would be maybe more popular?
That's a good question. I don't know, because I feel like when I was younger, I was the fucking freak for fucking listening to the music I listened to and got beat up and all that shit. Whereas I feel like it's taken on a sense of like something bigger than that and more mainstream and more acceptable and whatnot. But I think that because I think that may be a piece to it or whatever, is because there's a lot of kids that maybe felt disaffected or whatever, that felt connected to the community in some ways. I'm not sure if that's but I do think that from a virality standpoint, if that is the correct word, but from like a viral internet standpoint, absolutely. I think that if enough people understood the community, the sense of community, I think it could do a lot of great things, especially for people who are struggling with, like we were discussing earlier, the ability to kind of get out and meet other people and stuff. I know a lot of people that just go to metal shows just to meet other people and have that sense of community.
Definitely.
So that's really big thing, especially where mental health and anxiety and depression is such a big thing now, and it's become such a thing that, like, with our generation specifically, because I think that our generation is struggling a lot more from depression and anxiety and stuff because of I really think it has to do with the mindset of parenting and stuff back then. Not from a detriment, but just the different
trickles down a little.
Yeah, it changes. And I think the big thing is that a lot of people are finding they have more depression and anxiety now, and they're finding a better connection community, which is huge because I think what we're finding is there just aren't the jobs and the things that we were told when everybody was growing up, like everything it's the free to be you and me kind of generation. Like, you grow up, you're going to be able to get a job and everybody's going to accept you. In reality, that is not the fucking case.
Nope.
And I think what happened is, like, some of us were able to really adapt to it very well, and then some people just did not. And the problem for a lot of people is, like, they found out it's like you couldn't just be whatever you want.
Nope.
Your participation trophies mean jack shit in real life, and here we are in 2019, Donald Trump's president of the free world, and it is a fucking crazy roller coaster shit. So, these kids are they're fucking, and some of them are gonna, attach onto these different ideologies. Some of them are gonna, but I think the big thing about the metal community is it's accepting of every type of person.
It really
doesn't matter,
for sure. And getting out and seeing a live show, for sure.
That's
helps.
it. It's not
100%.
You don't
meet a lot of people.
You're not singled out by any type of stereotype or minority or anything. It doesn't matter who you are. Anybody can listen to metal. Everybody can get along. Everybody.
Yeah.
It's the passion in the music.
It really doesn't matter, like, what kind of religion you're into or like your political stance.
I know a ton of Christians that listen to metal.
Yeah.
It's really aggressive shit.
There's Christian metal. So
right, that too.
Yeah, that's the thing. But when it comes to, like, heavy metal, I feel like it doesn't matter. Like, someone could be like a Trump fan, and then, like, someone could be like, Bernie Sanders guy, and
Yep.
like they'd be back and forth at odds with each other, and then be like, oh well, I was listening to Pantera today. I love Pantera.
Right.
And it'd just be like that.
Exactly.
And then there's that connection.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's huge because it bridges so many divisive rifts that we've got right now in society is really bad. And part of the reason why we're doing this whole podcast,
it cuts that separation.
Yeah.
Which should not happen in the first place.
It shouldn't, because
unfortunately it does.
Remember back in the day, think about it. I not necessarily our back in the day, but our parents back in the day, you didn't discuss politics at all.
I still don't.
And I don't really
I'm not a big fan.
want to go out of my way to do it, but I think the thing that's tough now is that, like, even in a way, like we were discussing earlier, where you were saying you posted something online about the firefighter thing, right?
Yeah.
That's not inherently directly political, but you get somebody that still comes after you about it, right? Isn't that fucking crazy? That like you just like, this is pure opinion and this isn't anything directly political, and then still somebody finds a way to make it fucking political.
Yeah, I was just trying to portray that. I think it's great that some prisoners are trying to better their situation by fighting the fires in California, and try to help out with that, but also getting like their time reduced and getting, I think, like, I don't know if it was $1.50 a day. Yeah. It doesn't sound like much, but in the comparison
of being stuck in a cage, like we were saying earlier.
Yeah.
Here's option A, option B. You might die, but you might be able to just get out of jail and make some money in the process.
Yeah, I think they get like 8 cents a day, man. Like,
fuck it, man. I don't know.
Yeah, they get, like, when they walk out of there, they're like, here's 2 bits.
Yeah. Right.
Just
if I was in that position, though,
have fun trying to get on that bus.
yeah.
But it's I thought it was a great idea. I mean, who knows? Maybe some of these prisoners would be like, you know what? Maybe I'll go and take the exam to be a firefighter.
Yeah. Right. What if that's the bridge into this? So, like, this changes their entire life, and then they make it through it, and they end up giving their entire life to firefighting.
Exactly.
After. You know what I mean? That's huge.
You never know. It's a gateway to what's the word I'm trying to think of? It's a gateway to rehabilitation. That's what. So, sure, like there's halfway houses and stuff like that, but you're really just hanging out there trying to get acclimated to society again. And I get it. But if you're put in a position where like you might have a chance of maybe getting a job in something that's more beneficial than what might be supplied from those halfway houses, or by the what are they called, like parole officers.
Yeah.
It's I think it might better like some of these inmates, because a lot of times they just exit these places and they just have no hope,
and they go right back in.
Yep, that's totally true.
Institutionalize.
Sweden, I think Sweden have. Oh, you're gonna you're gonna say the same exact thing. But you know what? I'll allow you.
Read my mind, man.
Go for it.
No, it's funny because I was just saying the whole thing of like political when we discuss things and we try not to go necessarily in a political direction, even though sometimes because this is a hot button issue for some people, because Sweden is a good example, I think, of where they have very low recidivism rate, where just because these people are basically living in rooms, regular rooms, they have a library, they have a normal life, they cook food like normal people, they don't live like a fucking caged person. You know what I mean? Like, we treat our people horrible in this country. It's and I know people are like, oh, they're murderers or rapists. There's something dimensionally wrong with their brain that they did these things. And how do we treat them? They're mentally broken people. It's not that they're horrifically awful people. I think the understanding of evil is grossly misinterpreted through a lot of people, first off. Second off, I think putting people in these different programs like Sweden has, they have a very low recidivism rate. They have very low,
kind of going back to prison rate.
Right, yeah.
Actually, what is that? Revisit.
No, I mean, recidivism is
the word.
It works, but the other thing I was trying to think of was, I think, like physical violence. Their physical violence tendencies after the people that are in prisons actually become less violent after coming out of prison. which is the complete opposite in this country.
Right.
They become more they become more violent after coming out of prison.
Well,
so you go into prison, you have
It's
to
college.
You gotta survive.
No, it's high school.
It's high school.
That's high school is
terrifying.
prison. That is your introduction.
Oh, that is so true. You got the panopticon up there, you know, the mez.
Yeah.
And they're just, you might as well be walking around with a fucking M16s or something.
Oh, it's like, well,
It's awful.
yeah. I mean, with prison, it's just for America, I feel like there is no like rehabilitation. It's like you do your time and then you get kicked out.
But then you end up back in because it doesn't let you out.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a
what,
vacuum.
doing,
It's a black hole for people.
It is like, I mean, like they're just angrier.
Yeah.
Like they're like, I got treated like crap for X amount of years, and now I'm back out. I've got nothing, so I got to do something to make money. So then they do something, they get nabbed again, and then they're back in. It's like there needs to be a system in place where these people are like rehabilitated, like given a chance to like grow outside, because a lot of the times like most of these people aren't just evil.
Yeah.
Like they're just like led in a wrong path because it's like, oh, that's all I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, I mean, if they were presented with opportunities, you know, they might actually stand a chance.
Oh, I think that almost every single time it's the same circumstances. People a long time ago, they looked at serfs as people who would never choose to read because they're just dumb. And 2% of all people who can, there's only 2% of people who could understand how to read. In reality, what it was is 99% of all people can read, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're all capable of understanding. We're all smart. But what they didn't realize is that, like, given the chance, everybody can flourish. Everybody can produce. Everybody can be a contributing member of society.
Yep.
And most people aren't going to choose to be scumbags. But given some circumstances, and I mean, I do think that there's a big culture problem in this country, and it's not necessarily anybody's fault. It's just this mindset of scarcity. Everybody's sink or swim and fucking stab your neighbor for a fucking ham.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? It shouldn't be like that. And I do think that, you know, people like, and this is where it's going to get political, but somebody like Andrew Yang, who's offering $1,000 a month to every person age 18 or over, this would help tremendously for people, women who are battered, who need to leave their you know, Eric Roberts of a husband.
Yeah.
Hey, or fucking a circumstance like this where they're getting out of jail. They have really no foundation or cushion for them to produce. If they had $1,000 a month, they would be pretty okay to get into a job kind of softly, that, you know, they're not going to sink and fall back into jail, have to start selling crack again, or if they're, you know, I hate to say this, but if they're a woman, maybe prostituting, whatever the circumstance that they ended up back in. There's these horrible circumstances where they just keep on fucking ending up back in there. And I don't think it's their fault. I think it's just a really, really harsh economic system, which I don't think is a fault of capitalism. I mean, I think laissez-faire capitalism is one of the best things that ever happened in the free world. But I think that at the same time, corporatism is grossly imbalanced. Like the shift of, like, you know, funds to people who have and people who absolutely don't.
Yep.
And the people who absolutely don't are like 90% more common than the people who do. So it's like, what's going on in the country here where that we need just a basic foundation for people not to just die
Yeah.
in the streets.
Yeah. I
Right.
mean, I don't know if I like agree on giving $1,000 a month to
right.
everyone, because that's like $1,000 for kind of just doing nothing.
To do whatever you want, right?
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I understand it's to put people in a better position, but maybe what they should just do is increase wages for jobs and make more jobs available.
The problem is those jobs are going. This is my theory, at least, is because the automation. That automation is taking like 30% of the jobs away, and this is the only thing that recently has caught my attention, and the only reason I feel bad being political, right?
No, but, you know what? That's what we're here for.
This guy Yang has really caught my attention because he's brought a lot of attention to robots. Robots are a big threat to jobs in general. Like, I had no concept of my old job that I got canned from now just basically doesn't exist outside of the job that I was in. Because selling appliances is now something that you can do on A.G. Madison, that Sears is out of business, Lowe's and Home Depot going to kiosks. You've got all of the fast food restaurants changing over to robots, and even prep robots. It's going to be crazy. It's all going to be fucking sandwich robots and shit, dude. Pizza robots, Dunkin' Donuts robots, fucking everything robotics. And they're talking 4 to 10 years, sorry. You know, you're looking at 30 to 40% job loss in the entire market. All driving jobs gone.
Yep.
That's fucking crazy. So we're going to have this major displacement. And the only reason the guy even started running is because he's terrified that he went to Obama's administration, went to everybody and be like, dude, this is a big deal. Robots are going to take everybody's jobs. And I know that sounds crazy, but
that's probably why they're like,
it's
right
crazy.
on, dude.
They're like, okay, whatever, man.
Yeah, you've watched Terminator too much, man.
Yeah,
right.
you do, like, go back.
And he's like, no,
the
the numbers are here. Like, you guys, because the Obama administration basically put him in the position to do this. And he's like, here's all the data. And they're like, well, that's too much to deal with. So have Trump. And there you go. And that's just like, okay, so the reason why Trump got elected in his theory, and I don't know that this is necessarily true, but it makes a lot of sense, is that we automated away 4 million jobs in all of these different factory positions. And those were all swing states that Trump basically needed to win and did. That took the position from Hillary Clinton. Not that she would have definitely won. I think there's an anger against somebody like her. So I think it's the culmination of people wanting an outsider, people, you know, sick of the status quo, all that stuff. See, people didn't want Hillary Clinton and they were going for Bernie, and then they dropped out of the race entirely when he didn't become just all these different circumstances. And then automation too. I think that it makes a lot of, I'm a libertarian, so I really don't vote either way usually. Which is why I think that this person's actually caught a lot of my attention. Because he's talking about spending and stuff, which is not a libertarian thing at all. But the thing that catches my attention is that you can pay for the full $3.2 trillion and basically it eliminates all welfare. So all the welfare programs, no more. You don't need that Byzantine mess. Everybody just gets $1,000 and nobody's going to fall into that welfare space. And then in some circumstances they may need it, but those are going to be very sparse circumstances. Most of the time that's going to balance itself out. But yeah, the concern is like the Australians, they just jerked off more and fucking played video games. That was the concern. You give them $1,000, they're going to jerk off more and not leave. I don't necessarily think that that's necessarily the case. I actually think that for me, if I have $1,000 a month in my pocket, I'm not going to, talk to dolphins. I'm gonna put it in the podcast. I'm gonna, like you'd probably just like dump all the time and effort if you're like, fuck this, I can quit my job and focus all my time and effort on the summons.
Right.
And this is the thing he's discussing, is we would have a shift to artisan economy, which is what we kind of need to do, because if we don't have bands and all of these things taking up that economy vacuum, we're just gonna have a vacuum. And we really need to fill that vacuum with art, and we need to be buying stuff again. And really what this would do is that we would all be able to buy each other's art and music and all of that stuff.
That's true. A lot of
times,
and
we would all have $1,000 in our pocket to do it, and it'd be a trickle up kind of idea.
Okay, I can see that.
So
definitely.
the faith is that it's also going to eliminate the concept of scarcity and mindset, and that people are not fighting each other for a fucking Klondike bar. There's fucking I fashioned a toothpick into fucking.
You just like block yourself with the Klondike bar, just get stabbed in the hand. This is blood and ice cream.
Oh man, I don't know where the Klondike bar thing came from, but the whole idea.
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
Literally anything, because
stab them
so good.
It's like a prostitute. I don't know. I don't
She's
take
like,
currency. I take Klondike bars.
All right.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. This is gonna be some very upset people. I love it. Well, hey, we don't aim to upset anyone, but we also don't give a shit what you think. Hey, the point that I was going here is
sorry.
Off track with Klondike bars.
No, we love
I'm
Klondike bars.
Please
don't sue us, Klondike bar.
Yeah, don't do it.
Brought to you by Klondike bars.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Please endorse us.
Please fucking maybe
please buy our product.
All of a sudden people like start eating Klondike bars and we get some fucking monetary value.
Hey,
here.
why not?
Hey, that'd be good.
Yeah.
We'll win them. Where were we just? What were we discussing? What we were discussing. We were
talking about the $1,000 a month.
Oh yeah, so
stimulus.
Freedom dividend. The concept was actually brought up by people like Thomas Paine, Martin Luther King, and the whole idea is that instead of being like socialism, where you're changing the means of productions to government control and victory brand fucking everything, cigarettes victory brand, seltzer victory brand, beer victory brand, it's all 1984. The whole concept is that you're basically boosting money into this in basic amount of money is constantly funneled into the base of the economy to keep that from happening, because we're gonna have a collapse at some point. With and then the other thing is, and this is why Trump supporters like Yang, is that helps a lot of people in disaffected white suburban areas. There's a lot of truck drivers and stuff that are gonna be displaced by this that are gonna be helped, that are also not exactly the most what's the word I'm looking for, racially PC people. There's a lot of people that are just like, I don't give a shit about immigrants, fuck them, they're not going to get $1,000, which because they're not a social security holder in the United States. So there's some benefits that the Trump supporters are seeing from the very white nationalist side of things, which I like the idea of multiple people being brought together under this idea, is that you've got a lot of strong, passionate, Trump supporters that just got burned by Trump that are kind of jumping on board, that may not have the same reasons, and we may not agree on all the same things, but we all like the idea of $1,000 in our pocket.
Oh, of course.
And somebody who has a pretty genuine idea of what they think is wrong with the government. So I was like, all right, well, I'll actively campaign for him, also because it seems like the DNC hates this guy. So
now what you're talking is like when for tax season, right? Yeah, when the most people had just like all these write-offs were just like gone.
Yeah.
And like it affected a ton of people. So like the supporters of Trump were just like, whoa, wait a second.
Oh yeah. And those are exactly the people we're talking about. There's a lot of people that I've been talking to. Because I started doing active campaigning for Yang, which is I've never done. I campaigned for Ron Paul, and that was the only politician I've ever. And he's a libertarian, so it was very out of the box. He definitely didn't win and got skirted to the side in the Republican debates back in the day.
And the way I think of it, you'll never see a libertarian win.
Right. Ever.
Like, it's red or blue. It's
always that two-party duopoly.
Yep. It's just that. That's what it is.
Motherfuckers.
Doesn't matter. Green Party. Libertarians, I can't remember what other parties there are, but it's not going to happen. Like, as much as I hate to say it,
you're right.
It's just that's society.
Well, and
they have two choices, and it's easier for like society to like go with two choices than it is like, oh, maybe a more progressive, candidate or something.
We'd hope to see something different.
I would love that.
Well, see, and this is why I think the cool thing about that Yang is he's gotten libertarians like myself, and not everybody. Like, I've got friends that are not on board because they don't like the idea of the extra spending. But I think what they can get past, a lot of them at least, is like it's decreasing a lot of spending.
Yeah,
it's going to cut out a ton of welfare. It's going to cut out a lot of these programs and stuff. And I think that's an added benefit. But when you have multiple people kind of come together in an idea, I think it could work. The other thing I thought was interesting is like, he got like no time. They cut part of his mic off during the debate and all this shit, pulling all the same Bernie stuff that they pull. But he's smarter than that. He didn't wear a tie. He just let him kind of do the thing. Didn't interject, and he just sat back. And like I'm listening to him. Dude swears more than fucking Donald Trump did on the campaign trail at all. And he's like, I don't give a fuck, man. He's like, I don't give a shit about being on Biden's thing. He's like, what's going to happen is because he's already where he is, because he's internet famous, basically. Yeah. He just became really popular because of the internet and stupid memes and stuff, which I think are hilarious. The guy's pretty funny too. And he's gotten really far with that aspect. But he's got a solid platform and a ton of he's got like 100 and something policies.
Yeah. Wow.
Everybody else is like maybe 20 tops. Mm-hmm. He's got 100. And he's going to change the way we measure everything's measured in GDP now, which doesn't account for, his wife, for example, has an autistic son. She stays at home with them, and doesn't account for caretakers, any of that stuff. GDP doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
It's just like, can you produce for the country or no?
Yeah.
That sounds more like socialism to me.
Yeah.
Can you produce for the party, comrade?
Oh my god.
But that's fucked up, because it's like nobody gives a shit about that. What we care about is this human-centered capitalism, which I think is a good concept when they're thinking of, okay, Betsy, whatever the fuck her name is, she needs to leave her husband because he's can't get away from the bottle of Pierce Irish whiskey.
Oh no, you know what?
Don't do that.
They might be a sponsor one day.
They're really good, by the way. We're having some of their stuff, but
It's very
actually, I think
smooth.
this would be a little bit more expensive than that guy's taste. He sounds like a dirtbag. So we'll say
probably-
Evan Williams.
Dude's probably drinking Natty Ice.
He's drinking Natty Ice and Evan
It
Williams
was just something.
and beating his wife. Poor Betsy can't get away from him. But what I'm saying is she's living in squalor, and I'm using this example because I actually know somebody that specifically I saw on the internet recently on this site that it's an alcoholic site, and it's gonna be, oh, God forbid if they're ever listening to this, I'm gonna feel like an asshole, but some anonymous person or whatever, she's not, there's no way she could be listening to this, but if you are, sorry, but you're an asshole for staying with your husband because he beat you and you're talking about it, and you just obviously everything's directly in front of you, and this is exactly the same thing. She's in this circumstance. She could leave. She can't leave because of this. It's not her fault.
I know, it
sucks.
It's so easy for us to say, though. It's so easy for us to be like, why don't you just leave?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm really kind of backtracking on it because you're exactly right. It's not easy.
No, because I mean, it's like it's a control factor, and then it's like, well, if I leave, I have no money. I have no place to stay. The kids, what's going to happen with the kids? Like, if we can't go to a...
Can't leave him there.
Yeah, we can't leave him there.
He's going to beat the kids.
Yeah, out of spite.
Fuck, man.
So it's like, it's kind of like one of those situations where you're just like, shit out of luck.
It's so fucked, man.
It really is.
How many households
really
in the United
is.
States like that, though? Because they're down. Because they don't have money. Because
it'll resolve itself.
they're in...
Don't worry, tonight, tomorrow night will be different.
Right.
Cuddling and it'll be okay.
They just cuddle with the bottle until next time. But it never changes. And the depressing thing is I do think that it's the desolation feeling, like there is no hope. There's no future. There's no jobs. They're dwindling, and instead they're just like, Mexicans are taking my job. No, fucking, Kubota Co. came in and brought a robot that took your job. Whatever the fuck their name is. They came in and they brought a fucking animatronic arm that could do it quicker and faster, and it's never gonna accidentally hit on the HR girl or anything. It's like it's just a solid solution for companies.
Yeah. I don't understand the whole they're taking our jobs thing. It's like, not really.
No, they're not.
Like a lot of people, like a lot of them need like social security numbers and prior experience with like jobs and stuff, and they like in order to work. So it's like for people to be like, oh, they're taking our jobs. It's like, no, not really.
Unless you're a contractor.
Yeah, like they might be contractors. Sure, that's one thing. Whereas like
a lot of that.
Yeah, there is a lot of that, but I'm
that's a small amount.
That is.
You're right. It's a minimal amount of the job force, and my friend out there is gonna be like, no, fuck that. I do fences and blah blah blah. And they do. They're taking his jobs away, but they're not taking everybody else's jobs away. Yeah. They're taking that minuscule amount. There's not too many people that can replace the McDonald's employee other than the robot.
Yep.
Because you have to have a social.
Who can you blame for that though? Like, it can't.
You
it's
can't.
Not,
right.
It's not immigrants.
Hit the nail on the head, my friend.
It's the people hiring them. They could have easily hired someone local, someone like from the U.S.
And the same fucking people that'll buy robots.
And the same people, because it's all about the bottom dollar.
That's it.
It's all about maximizing their profits. And I get it. I mean, if you want to be if you want to own a business, it's all about maximizing profits,
right.
Like lowering your bottom line, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Less overhead, the better. So that's why a lot of maybe immigrants would be hired for that kind of work, because a lot of those companies, well, not companies, I guess contractor type, well, let's say companies, contractor type companies, they're not big scale. They're not building these giant monumental things. They're building homes, or they're building doing fences.
They're trying to get to the next job.
Yeah, they're trying to just get to the next
Poor
job.
guys.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, they're in this position.
But should
where
we
it's like,
allow an economy that does that to people?
I don't
like, and that's the thing. Like, and this is tough as me as a libertarian, because I'm always like, no, government should never interfere with these things. They should always be left out. And I get that concept, but laissez-faire capitalism has to, the free market capitalism has to be updated for today's, worker, especially in the economy now that is going to start funneling jobs up to Amazon. They're going to funneling jobs, up to Uber, and Uber's going to start self-driving. All of that shit, like, okay, taxi drivers, they got fucked over by Uber. Uber is going to fuck over their employees by robots.
Yep.
Boom, an entire fucking market gone.
Yep.
Transportation gone. And people are like, no, that's not going to happen. It is happening right fucking now in front of your eyes.
My car self-drives. Like,
Okay.
well, for the most part. I mean,
Right.
I can put on, like, cruise control and, like, assisted steering or whatever. And
Yeah.
I just sit back and eat a cheeseburger. And I just, like, hang out.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like,
That is so fucking
You
cool.
want another one?
yeah, you know what? I'll take another beer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right over here. There's a whole.
I didn't
On
wanna,
that
like,
note, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go on our commercial break, and we're going to be right back in just
grab the whole
a
box.
quick
Yes,
second.
do it.
As a lifelong fan of Stephen King and The Dark Tower, I want to tell you about Kotet19.net. Kotet19 isn't just t-shirts with some cliche Pennywise screen print. This stuff is made with the aspiration to create not only great apparel inspired by Stephen King and The Dark Tower, but also a lifestyle brand and sense of community. Kotet19 is the go-to shop for die-hard constant readers of Stephen King, but also a great gift for that bibliophile in the family. These guys always deliver the very best quality products. You can't beat these prices and with these styles and designs. If you go on, use the coupon code Abstract Transmissions and you'll receive 15% off your next full order. Again, that's Kotet19.net. Thanks again. We're back. So we were just discussing aliens and kidney stones.
Yep.
On the break. So we get the discussion of chronic pain, and I was discussing my chondral defects and it just really excruciating pain, and then we're going into kidney stones. So explain your experience with that, because I've heard they're fucking absolutely brutal.
Yeah, a lot of people tend to compare it to labor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, imagine just that alone. I mean,
Yeah,
like the pain that like women go through with giving birth.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what us guys have to go through when it comes to a little stone smashing around your kidney.
Mm-hmm.
The reason we got into this discussion is we were talking about drugs and how they can help pain, and how you need to you want to stay away from certain ones.
Mm-hmm.
The medication I was on, side effect was kidney stones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Zonisamide or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
shit. What was that for?
Epilepsy.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So I was taking that medication, and it just kidney stones kept happening.
Fuck, that's a shitty side effect.
Yeah, I talked to my neurologist, and he's like, "Oh, everything all good?" I'm like, "Yeah, except for some kidney stones have been happening." He's like, "I have to take you off that medication right away."
Right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, "I can't have you be taking that." I'm like, "Well, thank you. I didn't realize that was a side effect."
Jesus.
Getting ahead of the game. Thanks, pal.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, but the reason why we're kind of getting into this topic was when I had a kidney stone recently. The doctor prescribed me OxyContin, and I was like, no chance in hell.
Yeah.
I am not doing that.
Shit is brutal.
I am not going down that rabbit hole, because a lot of people will get hooked.
Oh yeah,
Big
absolutely.
time on that. So I went, the traditional route of just dealing with the pain for a week, and maybe taking Advils or whatever. But it is a nightmare.
It's crazy how willy-nilly they are about medications. At the same time, how crazy they've been recently about controlling it. Obviously, there's an opioid epidemic, but it's also negatively impacting the people who are in genuine pain, that they're now restricting pain medication from and stuff too, which is an awful situation. Because I personally, I fucking hate the medication. I have Percocets, but I try not to take them unless it's an excruciating circumstance. And then I take tramadol, 200 milligram extended release daily. That helps, and it doesn't. I don't feel fucked up from it or anything. I feel no side effects at all, but it does help with baseline pain.
Yep.
And then cannabis, really, in addition to that, unless it's so bad I can't handle it, then that's where the Percocets come in. But that's the extreme circumstance, and I try not to use them ever,
Right.
if I can, because they suck. I fucking hate the way they make me feel. There's other people that get, fucking euphoric feeling from it, but I don't. Absolutely not. It doesn't make me feel good at all. I think the downside for me is it just, I like my experience with it, because I have these major pain flare-ups where it feels like somebody's like, sawing into my, like driving a railroad spike into the center of like my bone. Like it's just bad. It fucking hurts bad. And I really, when that happens, it's like uncomparable to anything I've ever felt. And I keep on going to that as my, it's up there. Like I'd say, 8 or a 9, and I leave that open because I know the pain scale is pretty intense, up to 9 and 10 for people. That's like, you can't breathe or do anything other than scream in pain. 10 is, that's what 10 is. I don't think that I've been to that point before, but it's been, other than maybe right after surgery, there's some pretty bad moments. Go
ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was just saying, long story short, that fucking opioids, in my opinion, should be a last resort. Even in my circumstance, they went right to fucking, this wasn't the doctor I have now. He's awesome, but he wasn't a pain specialist. Pain specialists, here you go, fentanyl patches, oxycodone, OxyContin, whatever you want.
Yeah.
And then they're right on the end of it, on the same people, at least locally. They have the Pain Institute, and then they've also got the methadone clinic to pick up people on the other side of it.
Yeah,
they're making money on both ends. It's sickening, man.
It really is. We got that where I live. You'd be walking down the street and you just see by the methadone clinic there's needles like on the ground and stuff. And you have to watch where you walk,
right?
Otherwise you're gonna get like stuck. It's so bad,
and it's just getting worse.
Yeah, it's only getting worse. When that doctor tried to prescribe me that stuff, I was like, nope. No, you have to give me something else. He goes,
right.
I'll give you like Tylenol, 800 milligrams. I'm like, I'll take it. I'll do that instead.
Yeah, that's pretty extreme to have to fucking go through that pain though after the fact without any. I can't imagine having to, because I deal with a good amount of pain, and it's like sometimes you just fucking you can't handle it, and it's like that like morphine, like you're talking about. Sometimes you're just like, it's fucking so bad you can't can't manage it. But I agree. It's one of those things. Like I took ibuprofen for the longest time, and I was off of opioids for almost my entire employment at Barron's, because I didn't need to necessarily take them. And I was walking around with a cane for a good period of time and stuff. Yep. But then it got worse, and I was back on the tramadol. And then after they, anyway, whatever. I'm not with them anymore. But when shit changed, my ankles have gotten continuously worse, and then obviously with that pain, it makes, I think a lot of times people in severe pain circumstances will put feeling better above other things, and for other people that get satisfaction out of opioids, I could see that.
Yeah,
I could see where, like, I've heard people, it's like a euphoric, like, there's nothing better in the world. I don't get that effect from it. It just makes me irritable and itchy.
Yeah.
But and then they kind of nod off, and when I'm in real pain experiences, I'm just falling, kind of nodding off, and then being in extreme pain and then falling asleep. Like, that's such a shitty feeling. Like, really? That's why I hate that medication. It sucks.
I also don't want to feed into that.
Why?
Like the whole issue.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big thing.
It is. It's terrible.
Like there's a lot of people going through that shit right now.
It's terrible.
Luckily, we've seen a decline, like where I live, which is like Lowell, Massachusetts. There's been a little bit of a decline, but I don't want to feed into it. If I don't have to,
people can dig themselves out of it sometimes, and I can relate to those people. Like, or it's just like, you don't want to be on it. I don't want to be on it, and it's like, fuck it. I'll deal with being in pain versus having to be messed up all the time and not being able to function. I would rather not do that and then just deal with the baseline pain.
Yeah.
How many people just try to escape their baseline line existence though now.
Yeah, a lot of people, and they'll just resort to like drugs,
and that's it.
Yeah, and that's exactly it.
But how much of that would change if we found out that those UFOs that are visiting us we're just like, it's 100%. They're from another planet. You're not alone. We know for a fact that there are other creatures visiting us from another planet. They've been doing it for a long time, and they haven't introduced themselves yet. But I mean, would that change the world? Do you think that that'll impact the world in a positive or a negative way?
People will probably be like, "Don't take my jobs." First of all,
yeah. I don't want aliens taking my jobs.
Yeah, no.
Extraterrestrial aliens taking my jobs. Illegal extraterrestrial aliens.
Oh my god,
taking my jobs.
Yeah. I don't understand why it's so hard to believe that there aren't like people out there, or, like, you know, another species out there.
Intelligent
it's just
beings,
like, I mean, there's no possible way like that we are the only like organism in the solar system.
Right.
I agree.
It's unlimited. Like,
I agree.
It is unlimited universe and solar systems, and it's like there's plenty of stars.
The numbers go against it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The numbers simply just don't add up.
If we exist, and then the likelihood of other things existing, it's almost a guarantee.
Yeah, I mean, if they were to come to Earth, I think people would probably make some sort of meme about it.
That's exactly what would fucking happen.
But yeah, this is exactly what happened. That's
Holy
the internet
shit.
now. But no, I think people would just be like, oh wow, okay, we're not alone. And I think it might put a lot of perspective into like how people think about things. You know, like, okay, whatever we have right now is minuscule to what's going on up there, apparently.
Right.
So, like, it's gonna ground people.
So,
it's gonna like put them in this position where they're just like, okay, I'm not that important.
That's exactly why I asked the question, because I think that I agree. I mean, I think that type of connection, to know that we're connected to that we're not alone in the universe, is a huge deal. People just don't know for sure. Yeah. Sure, you can have faith. Sure, you can claim a lot of things, but in the end, you don't really get to necessarily meet or, you know, greet that creator in this existence.
Yeah.
You get to, you know, get a book or whatever it is, fanfare, you know, stuff money in a basket, whatever you want. Like, the difference is that extraterrestrial life is almost a guarantee that other beings exist other than us inside this universe or existence or reality. Maybe from another dimension, who knows? But what was always so hard for me to understand was the calculated possibility of it. Like, mainly that it'd be more likely that, you know, what was it? I think Sagan in the Cosmos documentary used this as an example. They had like lights on a Christmas tree that are like flickering on and off and on. You have civilizations that are coming on and off in different times, but they're never at the same time.
Yeah.
So the likelihood of us to both exist at the same time and be able to make contact is very difficult. But also the likelihood of that civilization is going to exist long enough for it to create space travel, leave its planet, intergalactic space travel rather, without killing itself off first, which was the thing that made a lot of sense to me. It's like, so what's the likelihood that they're going to be able to also travel long distances, make it here? And apparently we've got something that's visiting us here, and it's not from another fucking country. No way you're telling me that's China or Russia. I mean, kudos to you guys. You guys probably have some amazing technologies. Absolutely. Americans, fortunately, have gone down the wayward tomb of intellectualism and coding. But there's no way in fucking hell that is another country. That is definitely extraterrestrial in origin. And the fact that it's defying physics and all that shit, we need to figure out what's going on, and we need to make contact with them. That should be our main priority as a species, because we're going to destroy ourselves, and they know it. This is the thing that if you get a chance, Unacknowledged on Netflix goes into this deeply, but basically, from what I understand, from what I've researched, according to the Stephen Greer guy who seems to know what he's talking about, he's saying that they're concerned with our nuclear. They showed up right around the time that we created the atom bomb. Yeah. And as soon as we created the atom bomb, what do you know, Roswell, right? Mm-hmm. Then they're like, well, you guys are making the bombs. What are you doing with them? They hover a lot around our nuclear facilities. And they won't let us launch one in space.
Yeah, they just shut it down.
Yep. So each time that we've thrown one into space to try to do a nuclear, because you gotta ask yourself, well, why wouldn't they do nuclear testing in space? They do it all the time down here. It's like it's easy enough they can launch it, they can shoot it up in space, see what the results are in space. Well, they've never been able to.
Yep.
And there's never been, and if you go and you research it, not one world government has ever successfully launched a nuclear warhead into space. Not one.
No.
Why? Why would? Of course, that's a test. They used the water. They used everything to test these things. Why wouldn't they have done it in the vacuum of space? Because they couldn't. Because somebody wouldn't fucking let them.
They're being
Holy
blocked.
shit!
Yeah.
That rocked my world, man. Like when I saw that on a documentary, like wow, like that makes a whole lot more sense. And that it's not that that the government's hiding it from us because we can't handle it, we're gonna panic or anything. They don't give a shit about that.
Right.
We're idiots. We kill ourselves all the times. They don't want us to have the energy that they don't want us to have the technology that they know exists for 50 years ago. Free energy.
What if they're like aliens actually presented us with this technology and we just advanced on it? So, I mean, basically almost like a peace offering, like, hey, don't launch your nukes into space.
Right.
And here's some cool tech.
Basically, basically Star Trek.
Yeah.
Basically what happens in Star Trek, right? The fucking, was it the Vulcans come to... It's
absolutely accurate.
Is that pretty much what happens in Star Trek? Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be fucking crazy if that's what happens after all that time? We meet this new species and it turns out they're Greys or whatever, and they're just like, use mind powers and like, no nukes. Here's a new technology. You can sail beyond the sunset. Go ahead and search the stars with unlimited potential and capabilities, but it's a chaotic ocean out there. 1 and 2, don't be warring assholes. But they're not going to do that yet.
Imagine, I think it was like 1906, Tunguska. Am I pronouncing
Tunguska?
Yeah. Tunguska.
That's the
we tried to show you then, but you didn't really have anything going on.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to try again.
Yeah. Maybe that could have been.
Let's make a treaty.
Well, so what if that's it? Like, what if they're just trying to, like, they've been trying
hit Japan,
to...
but just don't shoot it out into space.
We can't stop killing each other. They're going like, no, dude, no. You guys can stay right there on that planet, and then you might die in a few years if you don't figure your shit out with climate change.
You know, I bet if anything, we're still very primitive compared to, like, maybe other civilizations.
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh, totally.
I mean, we've been around for I don't know, a few million years or so, right? I don't have the exact number off the top of my head. Anyone could just
Yeah,
I
don't know the exact number either.
Post about this. Let me know, like what the time.
I think it's like maybe 100,000 years or something like that, or a little bit longer. I know it's at least 10,000 years because I know we've been around for at least 10,000 years, like 10,000 BC. You know what? I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I mean.
Put in the comments below. Not that there are any comments because we're not on fucking YouTube.
Yeah, and this ain't live. But you're right. This ain't YouTube. We ain't doing some video game streaming and all that bullshit. I probably will do that one day. I just built a sick rig. Anywho,
hey, you know, right?
Yeah, we haven't been around a long time.
Not enough to make a big splash in the cosmos, right?
Yeah, so. I mean. These, maybe civilizations that might exist in a different solar system, perhaps, or a different, universe entirely. they've probably been around for even double the amount of time as us. So they probably have even more tech that they've actually developed on. I mean, look at where we are right now. Can you imagine what we would be like? Double the amount of
Why
time.
don't they just go, look, you guys stop your shit, and if you don't, we'll blow you up, because we obviously can do that. We got like pulse rifles and shit, whatever it is that they do, the black hole cannons,
Railgun.
exactly. You know, they're just like, we're obviously superior to you guys. Stop your shit. Come together as a world, because ultimately it's gonna have to be like, if we figure out that there's another, like, we're gonna have to come together as a world government. But by, you know, we'll have individual countries and stuff, but we're gonna have to really figure out the United Nations shit fast. Because
No, don't worry, we got that covered. We got Space Force.
I know. Well, hey, that was the one thing.
Oh no!
Whoa, what's that?
It better be pizza.
That was a weather report.
We just made up a beat just now,
what?
randomly.
A weather report?
That was our weather report.
The WMU.
I have this tile in my wallet, and I sat on it wrong.
What?
So if you guys don't know who Tiles, I'm giving them some free advertising. These things are really pretty cool, actually. They're little GPS locators. And if somebody like myself that has ADHD, motherfucker, I forget everything. And these things, I've got one on my keychain, I've got one in my wallet, I've got one attached to my wireless headphones. I should put one on my cane. When I lose these things, I can just look on my phone and find it. And if I lose my phone, I can press the thing and...
That's snazzy.
Oh, it's so convenient.
Yeah.
And I forget everything all the time. So it's probably the most helpful thing I think I've ever invested in. And I would absolutely suggest it to anybody who loses their keys or anything, because it just makes your life a hell of a lot easier. So yeah, free advertising for Tile, I guess.
There you go, Tile.
That's a
There you
good
go,
plug.
Tile.
That's a good plug.
Hey, maybe they'll pick us up on our ads.
Sponsor them.
See, he knows, he gets it.
I get it. Oh, I get
See,
business.
he understands. He knows. He's a musician. He
I'm
definitely
in the,
knows.
I'm in the worst kind of business of all.
God, right. It's just like, just put yourself out there for music, and a lot of times you just, what was that thing? You drive $5,000 worth of musical equipment in a $500 car to a gig to get $50
Yep.
to play a show. Right, like that makes a lot of sense. It's totally accurate.
Oh yeah, it's 100% accurate.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, there's so many. I just think about the first time I ever started playing in a band and having to get PA equipment, all that stuff, man. Like it.
Didn't that seem like I think it was RJ's. Was it RJ's in Dover? It's now the Moose or whatever.
Yeah.
Thirsty Moose in
They
Dover.
are. That is the Thirsty
RJ's,
Moose
that
now,
was
isn't
like
it?
the first
Was that the
Endless
first show that we?
Nameless, yeah.
Oh my god, that was our first show.
And I was like wicked stuff. I'm like playing basic just
We
power
couldn't
chords.
hear anything at all
Total anxiety.
because there's like no fucking floor monitors. Oh god.
Yeah.
You know
we
what?
played so sped up and just.
You're a vocalist. You can appreciate this.
Sure.
Venues, don't fucking book bands unless you have a floor monitor.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, it sucks so bad as a vocalist. You have no idea how much it blows to not be able to hear yourself, because main speakers don't give you shit as a vocalist.
For the most part, it's super important to have at least some sort of sound where you can hear yourself. I've trained myself to be only able to hear me in front of my face. So it is like, as long as I sound good in front of my face, then I'll sound good everywhere. That's how I can adapt.
That's part of having to adapt to having shitty fucking sound equipment in some circumstances. When you're a vocalist in a band, especially in a loud band where you have to compete with drums, crazy guitars, fucking, and keep up with those vocals, really, you've got to be able to blast your vocals through whatever you're playing through, and sometimes you're not using your mic, whatever it may be. You know, you've got to adapt to that circumstance. You've got to be able to kind of blast through all that, but you can't always hear yourself because there's not always monitors. So you get used to
That's true, yeah.
that circumstance where you're in your zone, like you were just saying, right? You can hear it within your area.
Yep.
Then you know you're good.
Exactly.
You know what?
Fucking awesome vocals, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. as a vocalist, I can completely relate to that. We played what was that show at Cambridge on the Monday night.
Middle East.
The Middle East, yeah.
I love that
We
place.
played
The
with
bus show.
Saren and Boar Corpse and
They're so good.
Yes.
Ornamentality, I think was one of the. Oh man, there was a whole
Ornamentality,
bunch of
yeah.
bands and that was one of.
Boar
It was a
Corpse.
Monday, right? And we bought a bus there. 30 drunk people, a school bus.
School bus.
30 drunk people
Twice.
together.
One went to the arena and one went to Middle East. The first one went to Middle East.
It was it was wild because Lance, he's just like, what the fuck? Anyway, long story short, great time. And we got on stage, there was almost no time. I could not hear myself because there was like no sound check time because there wasn't time because we were running late. But because of that experience of not having, like you were saying, having to be in your space with a microphone, knowing what your sound is going to be like, regardless of whether you can hear yourself or not, basically. And that's tough as a vocalist.
Yeah.
Knowing that you're going to be consistent vocally, regardless of whether you can hear it or not. That's fucking scary shit.
It is. I can't remember where I heard this, but it's like if you can hear yourself like in front of your face.
Yep.
Like that's all that matters because it's up to the sound guy.
It's wild when you said that. I've never heard it put like that, and that absolutely makes perfect fucking sense.
Yeah,
to me as a
it's
vocalist.
up to the sound guy to boost that volume.
Yeah.
Because if you can hear it within 6
your
inches
area.
of face, in your area,
Shit.
then it's all that matters.
I've never heard it put like that, and that's why I was saying earlier. I fucking love it. It makes a lot of sense because it's in that 6-inch area where you basically a lot of times when I use a microphone, it's a good couple of several inches away. I've never really depends on the dynamic of the microphones.
Thumb length.
Yeah, there's sometimes I need to cup it to gain dynamic or balance, but most of the time it's a good 4 or 5 inches away if I'm projecting, or a little bit closer depending on what I'm doing. And now I'm playing and singing with the guitar, so it's not that at all, and it's an alternative band.
Yeah.
But from when I was in a metal band, I can relate. To
I mean, that's one tip I could offer, like vocalists.
Yeah.
Just don't worry about hearing yourself in the monitors. Worry about hearing yourself
close.
Close.
Yeah. And that's tough.
And the thing is, if you're worrying about hearing yourself in the monitors, you're gonna blow your throat out, guaranteed. I can play an hour.
Fuck, man.
I can play an hour doing vocals for an hour, and no, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And it's not. Well, I mean, yes, it's technique and it's things I've practiced on, but because I haven't tried to strain myself so much to compensate for the PA system. That's when I've been able to just be like, oh, I can play an hour, get off the stage, and be like,
awesome.
hey, how's it going?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you do it amazingly. So that's seriously, the dynamic is really tough there. And for the amount of the pace that you're keeping with the music, that's fucking enthralling because it's tough. I know as a vocalist, especially an extreme vocalist, man, a good example when I was covering for In Where They Hide, that was probably the hardest I've ever pushed myself as a vocalist. And I honestly, I think there was a point where I realized that I don't know if I could consistently do it because I was out of shape, vocally out of shape. I can belt, I can scream, and I can fucking hit all the notes and do all that stuff. But there was a point where, can I get 45 minutes without fucking being like, oh God, or being like having my stomach cramp up? Because if you're doing it right, you're getting that stomach cramping and it feels like you did a bunch of sit-ups. And it's
I've been there.
Yeah, man, I can't. I don't have the endurance, man. I lost it. So it's really impressive when you see a vocalist like yourself to do that and have that type of energy on stage. It's tough. So it makes me gain a lot of respect for musicians in your position because it's not easy. Because you're also the front man too, and you've got a lot of people looking at you. When you have a microphone in your hand, everybody's looking at you. And that was always something that I struggled with. I always dropped really awkward jokes and made really fucking.
I love doing that
because that was
the presence.
the stage presence joke. I said
You gotta
brought stage presents. I was gonna bring stage presents, but I wrapped them and forgot them.
Oh, that's good.
It's really
That
bad.
is a good joke. I'm gonna have to use that next time.
So bad. Good. Carry on the torch, because I can't really. I mean, I probably will still use it in ambient every now and then, but it's an alternative band, so it doesn't require as much. And I've got a guitar in my hand, so there's that like blanket that I didn't have. Which was tough in Unrest and Transit. When you've got just a microphone in your hand, man, it's you're naked. It's you and the microphone, and I mean, there's some nice benefits to that because you have the control of the microphone if you're holding it, the dynamic. But when you're playing with a guitar, you have that. It's almost like a comfort blanket.
Yeah.
Justin knows what I'm talking about, because you're playing and
I would.
you just kind of
Never done vocals.
You turn sideways. Well, no, I know, but when you play on stage, you get it's your comfort zone.
Yeah, I used to get really like.
I get it, dude. I've always I always struggled with like the awkwardness of being on stage until really Unrest in Transit. Mm-hmm. When we started playing big crowds.
Yeah, I think that
was it for me, and I was like, oh, cool, I gotta not be nervous anymore.
That's when I'm most comfortable.
Yeah.
The bigger the crowd, I am like,
touche.
Yeah, I'm just like, all right, let's do this.
I agree with that.
Like, put me in front of 1 million people, like
right.
Metallica style.
It'd be easier, right?
It'd be so much easier for me.
I agree.
I don't know why. It's just like, I don't know if it's like a power thing.
No, you're absolutely right. When we played the downstairs Palladium,
it was people to listen to
that energy.
Yeah.
Well, you get an energy from the people that are listening to it, that are getting an energy from you.
Yep.
So like when you start to build that with the crowd, that's a fucking cool thing. That really I only experienced that a couple of times because we didn't do a ton with Unrest in Transit. We did a handful of things, which I'm really happy and proud of, but it wasn't a ton of crazy things. So there's only a handful of moments I really felt that.
Like the Radisson show.
The Radisson show was...
What I talked about earlier. Like,
right.
That was like...
Yeah.
It was like...
It sounded... you could hear everything really well and just... Yep.
Everybody's just like, yeah. It was like...
It was really unique and it sounded cool. So
let's play our next song.
But it's only happened a handful of times in my life, and I guess I'm kind of okay with that in the aspect that like hopefully it'll happen. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's just like it's one of those things that like it's in the back of my mind, and I'm always gonna kind of have it there as like an experience thing for me. And although I'd like to keep trying to do it, it's something that is like we were talking about earlier, having that list you get to knock.
Yeah. There's one on my list that I will never be able to achieve though.
What's that?
I'm playing Metal Fest, New England Metal Hardcore Festival.
Why is that? You're never gonna be able to achieve.
They don't do it anymore. I think they just stopped this year. So I'm like,
oh, I did not know that. That's so tragic.
Yeah.
What?
It's like not even in my control anymore. Unless I start the thing up again just for the sake of me being able to accomplish my dream.
Okay, I didn't know that. Because I was going to be like, what do you mean there's no way? I mean, you guys will definitely get on there. There's no reason why you shouldn't be on there.
Yeah.
In my opinion, sorry, I'm just saying. I mean, you guys fit the bill fucking 100%. So
I think so.
Why, yeah, I didn't know that. When this happened this year?
Yeah. Like... I think it just ended last year, 10-year anniversary type deal, and that was that.
Rushing.
Yeah, I know. But I had a lot of good memories at those fests. You know,
damn.
It was kind of a bummer because I was just like, oh, I want to do it someday. Like
that
it's like
sucks.
But on to the next thing. You know, the next stream.
Right.
Or goal, if you will.
Yep.
You know. So
no, exactly. I that sucks though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that would be obviously. Oh wow.
I don't even give a shit if it's 15 minutes. Like, because it sets like 15 to 20 minutes.
I get it.
I'll fucking get up there and like cause chaos.
Yeah. For sure.
I remember one time I went there and I saw From a Second Story window play. Do you remember them?
Yeah, I do.
The guitarist at the time, this guy Derek, he put his guitar case on top of the crowd, climbed on top of it, and surfed while he was playing guitar, and then ate shit like you wouldn't believe. But it was like the most metal thing ever.
Oh, dude, that is fucking kick-ass. Yeah, that is really kick-ass.
Yep.
Dude.
I still remember.
It requires a lot of balance skills, huh?
Yeah. And he threw his guitar like on stage, and then I think like a fan was holding it for him, and he drop kicked it.
Oh wow!
And my friend James got hit in the head,
Busted
open everywhere, blood everywhere.
Oh no!
It was really cool, but at the same time, poor James. Like, he got annihilated.
The fun
by that
parts of
guitar.
being in the pit.
But no, I heard that like from a second story window, went to check on him and like see if he's okay. So
that's awesome.
It was cool. He's a cool kid.
Yeah, that's really cool. I can't believe that's they're not.
I know it's heartbreaking.
It is. I saw the cool bands that fest. That sucks. I mean, I think that there's got to be something that's going to replace it, though, right? I mean, there's going to be there's a vacuum there.
I don't know, but
it's New England, dude.
Yeah, I know, but you know the saying, all good things must come to an end.
Sure.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Maybe it was like
why in 2019, right?
Well, yeah. Well, 10-year anniversary.
Gotcha.
Metal Fest last year. I mean,
yeah, I gotcha.
You end at 10, and that's maybe call it a day. I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Which is fine. I guess. Yeah. I get it.
So now there's going to be something to replace that for the vacuum, because I mean, there's a hunger for that.
Yep. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm actually not seeing as much shows now, metal shows happening like at the kind of Palladium in Worcester where like Metal Fest would happen.
Right.
So like now I'm seeing it like in a hitting south to Connecticut.
Yeah.
Connecticut and Rhode Island. My apologies. Connecticut, Rhode Island. No, I'm here.
So like the Webster and
the Webster and Fete Ballroom. Fete. Fete. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I have to look it up.
Feet. I'm going feet.
Yep. Okay.
Or Fetty. Fetty Ballroom.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna look into it.
Yeah, we will look into the name of that. I will Google Translate
it. Yeah. But I think that there's definitely a sense of community around that, like that fest, that hopefully there'll be a continuation of that, at least for local, because they bring on a lot of local bands, and that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Especially out of New England, because I just feel like it's such a good kind of cauldron of melting pot of different like genres of musics, and even like the rock bands, the really hard rock bands out of the area like Bigfoot and stuff, they're just really unique sounding, the ones that just stick out.
There really are some fantastic ones.
Yeah, Scissor Fight, for example, great band. It's just like there aren't bands like that that just constantly are constantly coming out that don't ever necessarily make super mainstream, but like they're definitely notable. They're bands that you're gonna remember forever.
Yep.
Bands that Scissor Fight's one of them. That's just like brown metal in the back of my head. It's always there. I think that there's certain bands that have that come out of New England, that places like New Mexico and California. Sorry guys, I can't say the same for as a concentrated area, but I think that's just because of our demographic and our rural territories, because you get a lot of people from the woods up around here that if they have to play anywhere, it's down in Mass. And that's how we got to know each other. It's like that community kind of spreads out into the different areas, and I think that it definitely gives it a different sense of music community than you're going to find in higher populated areas like I think New York or New Jersey and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is unique.
The New Jersey crowd, by the way, is fantastic.
Yeah, no, they really. I've met a lot of bands that come out of New Jersey, and then I know a lot of bands locally that like pull musicians out of New Jersey that come into bands like Bagat, the Nephilim out of Dover. They, I think their bass is from New Jersey, and I think that's great. That that community ties into the Massachusetts, New England community too.
Yeah, I mean, there's like bands like Cognitive.
Yep.
And I mean, Dillinger came from there, but I'm not going to mention Dillinger and that kind of aspect because they're so much bigger.
Yeah.
But, let's see, Cognitive's one. I'm drawing blanks on others, but there's been so many great bands to come out of there, out of that scene. Every time I've gone there, I've just been like, this place is fantastic.
The Banner. Did Banner come from New Jersey?
Oh yeah, maybe. Also, now that I think about it, no, not that band. I was thinking Great American Ghost for a second, but I was wrong. Fit for an Autopsy, I think. I could be wrong. I think I'm wrong with locations on this.
We'll look it up.
Yeah, we'll have to look it up. We'll have to research. We'll look up the Google machine.
Yeah, right.
See.
Yes.
Rely on our AI digital calculators.
Yeah.
Calculators.
Dude,
think about how close we are with this the interconnectivity of the AI. So we're this close to cyborgs, right?
Yep.
Because this is a computer that has all of our stuff, personal data, life, basically, in it. And the only thing that's slowing us down is the fact that we went from, home row typing to, individual thumbs.
Yeah. I predict that in 5 years from now, these are going to be our computers.
Oh,
these are
I think they already are. I mean,
they are for the most part. I think that there's going to be just a dock where you plop it into place, and you have a keyboard, and that's your computer on a a screen. And that's you're going to be your work from home computer too.
There were a couple of brands that did that for a little while, and it didn't gain a whole lot of traction. I mean, I think that makes a whole lot of sense that all of our technology is going to go to that, though. Because why? I personally don't. I have this computer here for recording. The podcast.
And it's
but that's pretty much. I wouldn't have had it necessarily for that. I have everything on here. Printing and stuff is the reason why I think a lot of times you have to have a desktop home computer.
Well, I can print from mine right now.
Shit.
Yep.
See, there we go, man. That's what I mean. So I just don't have mine set up to do that, but you can obviously do it right from your phone. So
it's set up for a wireless printing technology, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, Allie's too.
Yeah,
of course. I mean, it's 2019. I don't know. I've never set it up that way. I didn't know that.
That's how I print out my stuff. I just send it to her, and she just does it my weird stories.
That's That's awesome.
Poetry.
That's fucking sweet.
Stories.
I
see. This is where the aliens are going to come into play. They're going to set us up with some sweet, desktop phone computers.
Yes,
and that's what's going to happen. That's our
the interface technology.
Yes.
The technology for us to interface with these.
Yeah.
And then once that happens, that's it.
Yep.
Because then we're connected to them, and then it's just the convergence of technology integrated with our bodies, and then it's going to be computer tech and biology and all of that. Just we're going to converge with AI, and it's going to be futurist society.
Yeah. You see how I brought it back there to aliens?
Yes.
It just naturally happens here on Abstract Transmissions.
Everything just comes back to aliens.
Every time. It's just a meme of that guy with the fucking crazy hair. The aliens.
I saw him break the internet recently, where it was a picture of him saying aliens and David Duchovny being aliens. In the same photo, I'm just that's it.
The same services. That's awesome. That's great.
It's a good meme. I don't even think it's a meme. I think it's a photo that just breaks the internet.
Yeah. Right. That's what they do. I think, and this is my theory. This is where we're going to go out on. My theory is the next presidential candidate will be dictated by how good their memes are.
Yeah.
Because,
right.
and that's it. Because we've turned to that fucking society. I mean, look, Donald Trump's president, right? He's a reality TV star. Now it's just the memes are fire. That dude's gonna be president. So far, my homeboy Yang. Yeah. He's got the fire memes.
See, if I was to run for president, my gift game would be fantastic.
That's it.
It's my gift game is top notch.
That's it.
But meme game still needs work. It's pretty good, but most of my memes are they just fall flat.
Yeah.
I'll create them, and then everyone's like, "Ha." Like what? Two, like one H, one A. Lovely. Come on, it's so ridiculous. Like I put a lot of effort into this meme.
It takes a lot.
Like I had to go on meme generator dot whatever.
Yep.
And just create it just for your simple like thing that you said.
And all I get is ha.
All I get is ha.
What the fuck is this? I feel the same way. Anytime I make anything, I'm like, what?
I just
Right, guys, right?
Guys, I love hey
guys.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm fucking dropping fucking stage presents, but I wrapped them and forgot them at home. And like, fucking no. And each time it goes over. One time, it went over great. It fucking whole uproarious laughter.
I think it was a cloud of
2 times technically. One time was recently when I pulled the joke in Where They Hide. That worked out pretty well. But yeah, the other Clada or whatever it was with the CKY. Well, Fuckface Unstoppable. Basically CKY, but with Bam singing instead of Darren Miller.
That's interesting. Okay.
It was wild. Yeah, they were playing the covers and shit. It was fucking something else, and you know. I got Chad to sign my amp, and he played through my amp, and that was cool. It was a good time. Cool, This is one of those things that I'm going to put on my list, you know. Yeah. It was. I dropped that joke, and it went over well. But most of the time, it goes over like a fart in church.
Yeah.
Forgot them at home, and it's just like.
I'm such a big fan of using like
heavy breathing.
I'm such a big fan of using humor on stage.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people don't do it.
Oh yeah, no,
they're just like, "Yo, what's up? We're so what's up."
Oh yeah, right.
And then,
man, the tough guys.
Yeah,
on
the
stage.
tough guy stuff. But I'm just like, I'll make fun of myself.
It's good.
So much
That's
on
great.
stage, and just like I think one time I made like fun of myself, saying like I couldn't perform sexually. That's not true.
It's like, hey, I didn't mean it directly.
Yeah.
It was a joke.
It was a joke. I was just like, oh, this is as bad as my flaccid penis.
It's like a wham, dude. But the point is to be able to take a good joke and point, take a good punch at yourself.
You know what? A lot of people laughed.
Yeah, that's good.
That's the whole point. That's
what I'm saying. I appreciate that over the fucking tough guy shit because I feel like that's so common, especially in like the post-hardcore music. Like nowadays, like there's so many bands. It's like I like I consider you guys a pretty artistic band. So like I like the very artsy approach that I get that painted picture from.
Yep.
I love bands that paint a picture for me, and that's a unique thing that I don't think every band does. And I don't get that when I've got like I like Hatebreed. Like, don't get me wrong, but like that tough guy thing is just like it's its own thing. It's just not my specific cup of tea.
I honestly hate it. Like hate it. Like I mean, excuse my language here, but
I'm in the same boat actually. I was being more reserved.
This is not something I tend to say.
Yeah,
like, you'll hear like a lead singer go, "Fuck you, faggots! Get up front," and it's like that's so fucking offensive. Oh my god!
Yeah, it is.
It's a little intense.
It is.
Wow.
And it's like no. Fuck your bands.
No, it's like who wants to watch
I'm gonna sit right here like a fat piece of shit with my cane.
Get up in the front, get your ass
and fucking drink my beer.
Who wants to watch a band when the lead singer is like legitimately like spitting out like rhetoric like that?
Yeah, that's fucking brutal.
Like, it's awful. Like I mean,
that's very not inclusive, sir.
No, that's like not inclusive at all.
I know. It's Cucka Beach.
I'm not using the word like.
Yeah, they do it though. Like I get it, man. I get what you're saying though, because it's just like we're tough, we're fucking badass. Use it to fucking get fucking attention.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's not a good time.
I don't think it's a good word to use for like attention. I mean, I just said it for the sole purpose of like that's exactly what they say.
Yeah.
But I'm just like I just think
I've heard this live before and I didn't like it.
This is actual like verbiage I've heard live before, and I just go. No.
It's off-putting as a band.
It really is. It makes your band look awful.
Not very becoming.
Yeah. Like like when you're in a band, it's like being, president or something like that.
Yeah.
Like you have to like put on a certain like face.
Yeah.
It's all
Absolutely.
about like what's the word I'm trying to think of? Public image.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So it's like you have to maintain this public image of your band. Like if you're gonna be like a racist, sexist, whatever band, then I guess that's your thing.
That's
Yeah.
but
It's a
you
whole
gotta
separate,
run
like-
with it. You gotta take it.
You
You
gotta
gotta
run
stick
with
with
it.
it, and that's your shtick.
Yep, that's your shtick. That's your thing. And
You're
gonna
Gigi
have
Allen now.
Yep, you
That's
make
what you're
your bed.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
You're
what I was
rolling in
thinking.
shit and fucking broken glass
Oh
now.
my
That's
God,
what you
yeah.
decided. Sorry.
You make your bed, lay in it. It's
Poopy
just,
cuts.
I've always said that, like, if people want to watch your band, just start playing.
Yeah.
And if they like it,
Yeah.
they'll go up.
Right.
If not, then whatever.
Right.
You know.
Let them be comfortable in their own terms.
Yep,
Try to
exactly.
force them forward.
Yeah. No, I don't even say, come on, everyone, let's move forward. I just go, let's just play.
That's it. And they do whatever they want.
Yep, and they do what they want. I swear to you, like 90% of the time, people just come up.
Yep.
And it's because you're not pressuring them. You're not
Right.
calling them, like, bad words.
If your music does it naturally,
Yeah.
it'll just do it.
Yeah. If your music is that good, you'll pull the people forward.
Oh man, I remember specifically a band that we played at because I did a lot of shows at the Brick House where I'd set them up and we'd bring in a band and pull them out of Portland, out of Mass or wherever it may be, and the band would come in and they're just so fucking like we're awesome and nobody's there, I'm like, and I get it, like we've been there a million times, but they're in this position, they're just like, everybody move forward. It's like,
You mean 5 of us?
I mean, 5 of us. We're all already forward. What do you want us to do? Because
Hey,
we're
you
not gonna.
getting a drink in the back, paying a $2 tip. Yeah, I see you.
Yeah, I can see you. He's like,
Get your ass up here.
I planned on it after I closed out my tab, man.
So you know what the problem is with that is you're isolating that person.
Yeah,
You're
right.
making that person feel bad on
Yeah.
stage. You're calling them out, and you're basically saying you're an asshole because
That's
you're
the
paying your
worst
bill.
case scenario.
At least 3 or 4 people are gonna be like, yeah,
Yeah,
fuck you, man.
yeah. And now you've got like everyone just revolting, I guess, against the person that is literally just trying to pay for his drink so that he might be able to go check out your band.
Yeah.
So now he's not.
Now he's like, fuck this. I'm gonna go drink this. And
I liked them. I thought they were pretty hardcore. I thought they were
Yeah,
great.
and then until they called me a fucking asshole.
Yeah,
You're
exactly. It's like there's like 6 people in here. I was gonna go up front.
You leave and you're like, maybe I am the problem. Damn, maybe I am a pussy. They just go home and
Because nobody ever
don't
does that.
listen.
Nobody ever takes that like, oh man, I really should have. I could have been a tougher.
Could've been a team
I
player.
could have been a team player and
got
been
my
up
ass
front
up
and
there.
and started a mosh
got
pit
my
first.
head kicked in.
I could have started throwing bows and been that annoying asshole when nobody else was. It's like now's not the time. There's like 7 people in the room.
Yeah.
You can start swing kicking all you want, but we're just gonna look at you like you're a fucking idiot.
Yep.
And it's nobody's fault. Everybody's pumped for the band, but you're just looking like an ass. You just knocked that pregnant girl over, you jerk.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it.
You know what I'm talking about, man. You know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like there's 10 people in here. Did you really have to spin kick, a pregnant woman in the face?
you managed to keep kudos, managed to keep your PBR up straight, but fuck my life, dude. That Tully is
axe
fucking.
to the pregnant girl's
I
head.
get it. Like I get wanting the mosh. I understand it.
Yeah, dude.
I mean that's
Touche,
that's
man.
why you go to concerts. You want to let
Absolutely.
go. You want
Right.
to let loose. You get out that aggression. And you have fun.
For
But,
sure.
There's a time and pace.
There,
Time and pace.
Yeah.
absolutely.
I-
And even if it's a band that calls for it, it's like sometimes it's like, yeah, but there's not that fucking you can't do the wall of death with 8 people.
Nope.
You can't do it. You just can't.
No. Like if I'm gonna be listening to if I'm gonna be seeing Knocked Loose live,
Right.
you better
Oh,
believe
yeah.
I'm gonna try to do a
Yeah,
cartwheel in
Knocked
someone's
Loose.
face.
Fuck yeah.
But that's exactly what I'm
Knocked
talking
Loose,
about,
yeah.
right?
Oh
'Cause
man, I've been listening to them a lot lately.
they're
they're
amazing
nasty.
band, and
Angriest
one of
thing I've
those
ever heard.
bands that
Yeah.
it's just fucking raw and fucking gnarly as
Yeah.
fuck, and
They're
that shit gets
really good.
crazy.
Yep.
But that's a band that you expect that to see. You're going to see that fucking that it's not going to be 5 people.
Nope.
Guaranteed.
It's gonna be 500, maybe.
Right.
And
Exactly.
it's gonna get ugly.
It does, and the cool thing about that though is that everybody going to that show is specifically looking for that, you know. And I think that this day and age, when you're trying to go search out a show that makes you feel like that, it's nice to have those bands that you know. That you're like, I know what I'm getting into when I go and I buy a ticket to go to this show.
Yeah.
Like, I know exactly what to expect.
Yep.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That's huge, man. Because when you're like, I'm gonna have a blast in the pit, or this is what I'm gonna do. I can't do it anymore. Fucking my ankles. But I used to fucking get in the pit. I did a couple of times for Arcaro, and you know, I had my days, but before my ankles weren't wobbly shit. But now they are, and unfortunately, it's not as much fun. But I love fucking seeing bands and getting that fucking energy from it, because there just aren't enough bands that are driving that now. You know?
Yeah.
There's a few bands I actually do come out of Mosh retirement for.
Yeah.
One, Chimera. When they play Severed, that's it. It's over.
It's over.
I'm out there. Something off of like Meshuggah's like Catch 33, I might go out. But last time I did that, it wasn't during Catch 33 stuff. Someone headbutted me in the mouth, and I needed weeks worth of like dental stuff. It was bad. It was bad.
That's
and then our arsonists get all the girls. I don't know if you guys ever heard this.
I have heard.
I've heard, but I just never heard them.
No, there's this one song they have, claiming middle age a decade early, I think.
Absolutely claiming middle age
And
decade
it's
early.
it's the most obnoxious breakdown I've ever heard. It's just like dun 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 dun.
That does.
That's like it's obnoxious.
Holy shit!
And I
That's
just,
just the song
The
title
slower the
alone.
breakdown,
I'm like,
everybody goes more
motherfucker.
crazy.
yep.
Can I relate to that song title enough? Holy shit!
Everyone can.
Absolutely.
That's just. Oh
I'm in my
God,
30s and fucking absolutely.
Actually,
Holy
you know what? There's four. Iron Dissonance, Play Dead and I'll Play Along. And I did that once, and like it just got ugly. But
I got to do something about
I'm
the
just
creaking
naming
in this
all sorts
chair.
of bands that will never play, basically, and like if they do it, and then I come out of retirement.
Yeah.
Deadwater Drowning.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, they're awesome.
Yes.
Yeah,
Good Napsha. Good old Napsha.
that's a good one.
Right out of the sticks. Right out of the woods. Fucking, I love it, dude. It's just,
Sticks, yeah.
it's really New England again. There's just that unique raw stuff. It's just like, you're like, who's that? What's that over there?
Yep.
Where'd that come from? Oh, where'd she come from? Oh, look at look at that. It's unique. I've never seen anything like this before.
Unique New York.
Unique New York. Unique New York. I absolutely know that feeling. It was just like, oh wow, this is like something I've never experienced. Ooh, I'm gonna have to tell my friends. So, you know. And on that, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a great interview. Thank you very much for coming on the show, and we hope to do this again, man. This has been a blast.
Yeah, we should do it again.
For sure.
Definitely.
And hey, what we'll have to do is I'll have to talk to Al about getting you guys up at the Brick here again.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be really cool. I mean, I'm not
awesome.
any type of really aggressive metal band, but there's a couple of really awesome. Where They Hide's a perfect example. They're doing some awesome stuff locally,
Last
and
time
they look human. So
yeah, last time we played Brick House, I think it was like 150 people. It was like packed.
It was great.
It was packed. Yeah.
They do such a great job. Really, as just an overall sound and everything. They're our favorite local venue. So,
I agree.
There's a little shout out to the Brick House and Al and Rex there, and thanks again, Steve. And we'll talk to everybody soon. Abstract here, abstract there.
Indeed.
Thank you.